morning on the Sea of Galilee. We are minus 211.82 meters below sea level here. I believe we'll be going on one of those boats later today. Sunrise on the Sea of Galilee. Hey kitty, you gonna go in that pipe? Yep, I knew it would. These are on every door for good luck.
It's nice, yeah.
All right, we're all heading to the boats.
Wow.
Here.
I hope you'll be okay.
You're well backlit.
Yeah, I know.
We look good in shadow.
Width is about 7 miles. And
13 miles by 7 miles.
It's about 120 feet. Okay? So
12
it's a lake.
stories.
So what they used for a lake was used to describe a sea and an ocean. So that word, so the one who translated it never came here, is not aware of the geography of the land. So he translated it Sea of Galilee, not Lake of Galilee. Of his public ministry took place around this lake. And of course he did miracles in the lake itself when he walked on the water of this lake and calmed the storm on this lake. Sea of Galilee, also called the Sea of Life.
We look at the clock, we look at Sea of Galilee, it would be like 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Around 5 or 7, right?
That's where it all took place.
The lake, and it's fresh water. Usually it's calm most of the time. Fishermen, most of the fishermen used to fish in the smaller boats. And after we get off this boat, we're going to go and see an ancient boat. And that will give you an idea how the ancient boats were and what was their size.
I teach a course on Thursday nights of what I'm going to do, and if people give me an answer and they're really sincere about it, I just go wrong. And I'm like, why baby people, you know? Who built the number? All right? Your homework is, truly, homework is to figure out in the Old Testament what the Ebenezer is, what's the significance of it. It's really an important idea, okay? That's everything. I think sometimes we read it and we think that this stranger walks up to them and says, follow me, and there's these sort of, the laser light goes on them and they just know there to go. This was an honor for them to be asked to follow this rabbi. So they had probably already been thinking about it, wondering about it. It was unusual that he would call them, in particular, but not unusual that a disciple would follow a teacher.
My heart to sing thy grace, waves of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. Teach me some melodious song. Teach me some melodious song. Sung by flaming tongues above. Sung by flaming tongues above. Praise the mount I'm fixed upon it, mount of thy redeeming love. Interposed his precious blood.
Interposed his precious blood. Well, amazing.
When we get to Jerusalem, it would be nice to be able to sing. I know it's a woeful song.
No.
The story behind it would be, "It is well with my soul."
It is well with my soul when we get to Jerusalem. Oh, you want to sing it there?
Yeah, we want to sing.
maybe we should do a little more than just names. Say, what you do or something, how you serve or something.
Sure. So, my name's Alan Skaggs.
Use the microphone, please.
I
gave it to
you. Have a loud mouth.
People need to hear it.
So, my name's Alan Skaggs. I think I've probably gotten the chance to at least shake everyone's hand. You've met my wife, Laurel. We've been at St. Luke's for about 7 years. I moved down to Florida in the summer of 2008. Had a friend already attending, invited me to come, and never really considered going anywhere else. Found my church home right away. So I was very, very fortunate to have that experience. I had moved in from out of state, just finishing graduate school in the Northeast. So coming down to Florida, it was nice to find a place where I felt at home. My wife and I met at Disney. We're both engineers there, and we got married at St. Luke's about 4.5 years ago. Yep. Pastor Bill officiated the ceremony, and it was lovely. And so we've come to be connected to the church in different ways. We've both put our dogs through. We have a dog therapy training program where we then deploy out into retirement homes, assisted living facilities called Canine Crusaders. We've done that. I've served on board of trustees. Laura's on church council right now. We've taken Financial Peace University, the Dave Ramsey class, through the church. I mean, we've come to be connected and grow in many different ways. So we're very blessed and pleased with all the offerings that St. Luke's has and the ways it's enriched our lives. And of course, this trip is another part of that. So happy to have found our home through the church and developed a friendship and connection with Pastor Bill, his wife Kim, and all of you as well through this trip. And anything else?
That was great,
Alan.
Okay.
Perfect.
I do. So, all right. So, quick story. Everyone else had given their speech, right? The best man, the bridesmaids, my parents, her dad said something, and I had invited my uncle there, and he's a lay pastor in Texas, where I'm from. And so he was grabbing the mic to do the blessing for the meal, and I jump up and say, "Wait, I want to say something."
10 minutes later.
And, so I had a little something prepared. So I spoke for about 10 minutes. I thought it was the best part of the whole event. I don't know. To me.
Like longingly looking at the food.
Yeah, really right there. Right, as everyone had been teased with, "Here comes dinner." Wait! So that's me.
That is good.
So from Mark chapter 6, verses 45 through 52. Immediately Jesus made his disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to Bethsaida, while he dismissed the crowd. After leaving them, he went up on a mountainside to pray. When evening came, the boat was in the middle of the lake, and he was alone on land. He saw the disciples straining at the oars because the wind was against them. About the 4th watch of the night, he went out to them, walking on the lake. He was about to pass by them, but when they saw him walking on the lake, they thought he was a ghost. They cried out because they all saw him and were terrified. Immediately he spoke to them and said, "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." Then he climbed into the boat with them, and the wind died down. They were completely amazed, for they had not understood about the loaves. Their hearts were hardened.
All right. That comes after the loaves and fishes. So, Alan, would you like to preach on that text?
Okay. I prepared a little something.
Consider all the worlds thy hands have made. I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder. Thy thoughts throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art.
Sing in the front toward us, which would be like the disciples. get to Pentecost and you have more and more, and then you have that gray line of light in the back. It's sort of like how the church was formed from this lake on. And we're part of that great light back over toward the Golan. Great line of believers. Well, Sam?
If we have time, I'm sure we have time, so I'll take you there, because just down below, like on the other side of the mountain, there is a valley. And from that valley, when you look at the mountain, you can see a village that was carved in rocks, like a mini Petra, okay, just like the Petra in Jordan. There, that valley is called the Valley of the Wind, because as I told you earlier, we're almost 650 feet below sea level, and it's calm here most of the time. But the climate will be different in the mountains. So there's a storm on the mountains, and when the wind comes through that valley speed up the wind, and the wind will hit the lake from there, and this is what causes sudden storms.
Okay, there's one. Then one's just a fish. And then this
Put your hand in the hand of the man who stilled the water.
I like it.
Man who calms the sea.
The wind comes whipping through.
That's where the wind comes whipping through and will
Kind of cool.
stir up a storm real quickly. Going to the museum.
Yuzi and Moishe are brothers, born in Genosar, both are amateur archaeologists.
We had dreams that one day we'd find a treasure in the Sea of Galilee.
You have an image of Peter and James and John in their boats. It's probably like this.
We were born right here in the Sea of Galilee. Our father was
all the time. Anonymous built for shade.
The digging around such an ancient and big object required special care.
While we were digging, it became clear that we couldn't use tools near the wood. We had to use our bare hands, as the wood was so soft and spongy.
Polyurethane, and yet it was still not clear how to move it to dry land.
The most logical answer was to simply sail it on the Sea of Galilee.
No, the wine's supposedly.
No, it's good. I'm saying.
You like this? Some people don't.
It's shipping.
No. Oh, yes, I know you.
Alright, so we're reading the story of Ebenezer.
Pay attention, everybody. Laurel's reading.
I'm not as witty or entertaining as my husband, sorry. Then Samuel took a stone and set it up between Mizpah and Shen, and called its name Ebenezer, for he said, "Till now the Lord has helped us." So the Philistines were subdued and did not again enter the territory of Israel. And the hand of the Lord was against the Philistines all the days of Samuel. The cities that the Philistines had taken from Israel were restored to Israel, from Ekron to Gath, and Israel delivered their territory from the hands of the Philistines. There was peace also between Israel and the Amorites.
Nice, nice. All right, Ebenezer, stone of help, placed by Samuel. The Philistines are after them, and they said, "Okay, so far so good." Everybody has. He's got a lot. This is cherry, though. You'll like that better.
Mine might have been cherry too.
Oh, they might have been.
They were.
Thank you. So people were asking these houses around here. This is a kibbutz. I'll let Sam talk about kibbutz, unless his voice is bad. But, you know, collective farms. They were really a part of this land even before Israel was established as a state. And Jewish folks would come, they'd live collectively, share their resources, and then most of it was agricultural or fishing. This little kibbutz hit the jackpot when they discovered the boat. Because now there's a revenue source here that isn't dependent totally on agriculture. Young people, families would come and the children would grow up and stay in the kibbutz. Today, that's not happening. The children are growing up and leaving kibbutz. And so they've thought of different ways to keep the revenue, and you'll see a lot of places will have guest houses, people come and stay. This has the museum, of course, and then this is the first time I've been here you had to pay for the bathrooms, so they found another revenue source. So it was a very important model for settling the land and helping the land bloom, but now they're having to think, see the swimming pool over there? They're trying to think of creative ways to maintain the kibbutz with additional and creative revenue sources.
And after the Mount of Beatitudes, we go to Tabga and Peter's primacy.
Mangoes.
And to the right as well, mangoes. This is the location of Tabga. Now Jesus used to teach here in this area, on the sides of these mountains that look, big parts of them look like natural amphitheaters. Just going up this way, I want you to remember the parable of the farmer who was spreading his seeds, and some seeds fell on rocks, some seeds fell on the road, some seeds fell among thorns, and some seeds fell so some seeds fell on good earth, good land. And Jesus said this parable here, and this is where people will be sitting. Actually, on the other side of the mountain, closer to the lake, will look the same. Were related to people's experience and to what's around and what's to the environment. So you can see the thorns, you can see rocks, you can see streets, and you can see good soil as well. Jesus used parables in his teachings for many reasons, and I think one of the reasons is to make it easier for people to understand. First, I don't think people will be listening to him.
When God created the world, he gave all the rocks for the world to an angel in a bag to distribute across the world. And when the angel got over this area, the bag broke. And all the rocks went right here. The mountain. Also, the Matthew story implies that Jesus was giving this information just to his disciples. So, the teachings circulated independently of the context, and the gospel writers chose to place the teaching in a context that served their purpose for the narrative that they were writing.